This video is for people who can't find decomposed granite where they live. I've been getting a lot of messages, comments, emails from folks all over the world telling me that they can't find decomposed granite DG where they live. It's hard to find for them, and I completely understand. Because when I go up in the hills and the mountains and parts of the deserts out here in Southern California, Zone 10, DG is all over the place. It occurs naturally here. It's easy to find, and these companies go to the hills and the mountains, get it, take it off the mountain, and put it in bags and sell it to us, the public. So it's easy for us to get out here in Southern California, Zone 10. I love it. DG is a multi-purpose, multifaceted thing that you can use in your garden to achieve a lot of things. It's just neutral dirt that plants have been growing in for thousands of years, millions of years. They're really used to growing in it because it's just earth, and it makes a lot of sense to grow plants in it. So I use it in my container mixes, and sometimes I use it in the ground when I'm planting things. I'll use it for in-ground plantings if I need to make some adjustments, if I planted something too low, if I planted something too high. All that DG to stabilize things and to make things level, and it works really well. But again, because it's just neutral dirt, and plants just are used to growing in it. So, but people want to use DG and they can't find it. So folks in Europe, parts of Florida, South Africa, Australia, places like that, I got you, my friends. Don't worry. I'm gonna show you an alternative that you could hopefully, these ingredients, by the way, this soil mix is gonna be 2 ingredients. That's it, 2 ingredients. Hopefully you can find these easier than you can find DG, okay? So let's go. Let's go look for these ingredients. Let's go. All right, we're back at the big box store. All right, we're looking for soil. We're looking for soil mix. We're trying to make our own container potting mix. And most people, when they come to the big box store, they see this stuff and they think this is potting mix. Well, in my opinion, this stuff sucks. This is the worst kind of potting mix you could use for any kind of container, especially if you're trying to grow stuff long term. I'm talking like 6 months or more. If you want to keep a plant in a container for 6 months or more, this stuff is not going to help you. Your plant's going to look good in the beginning, and then you'll notice after about 6 months to a year, you keep a plant in this kind of container mix, most fruit trees don't like it. Most fruit trees are going to struggle. Some fruit trees can handle this kind of crap soil. They can deal with it. But like stuff like avocado trees, mango trees, guava trees, a lot of tropical, subtropical plants, and a few other not so tropical plants, like more deciduous, temperate climate fruit trees, they're gonna have a hard time in the soil long term. It's not gonna work out for them, because the ingredients on these soils, this is more like mulch to me. What you're looking at is brightly colored bags of mulch or even fertilizer, because there's a lot of organic material in this stuff, a lot of organic material, and people think, oh, organic material is gonna be nice, it's gonna be good, plants love it. Well, plants aren't used to growing they're not used to having their roots in organic material. All right. By the way, shout out to Gary Matsuoka, who taught me all this. Shout out to Gary Matsuoka. Let's look at what's in this stuff, and I'll talk about why I think it doesn't work. Okay, I grabbed one of these brightly colored bags here, and let's look at the ingredients. All right, you got to look at the ingredients, see what's exactly in this stuff to know what's going on. Okay. Ingredient number 1, recycled forest products. Core, perlite, not bad. Dehydrated poultry manure, composted poultry manure, hydrolyzed feather meal, peat moss, kelp meal, worm castings, bat guano. All right, exactly what I thought, as I suspected. A lot of organic matter, a lot of the same stuff that they use for fertilizers, bat guano, chicken manure, manures and this kind of stuff. And they think that it's actual soil. That's the stuff that you could use on top of your actual real soil, and use that kind of stuff as actual fertilizer. That's actually not bad fertilizer, because as the organic matter breaks down, it feeds the plants from above. But with the roots, don't want to touch any kind of manure. They don't want to touch any kind of organic matter, because when you start watering, that's when the problems start to happen. And check out some of my other videos. You guys see more details, but it's bad news long term, that kind of stuff, for a lot of fruit trees. So let's talk about the 2 ingredient mix. Let's talk about the 2 ingredient mix that I'm gonna show you today as an alternative to DG. Here's the first ingredient, peat moss. Yeah, all right, peat moss. That's ingredient number 1. And look, the price has come down. This used to be $25, $26. Yes, price is going down. All right, I'm gonna get one bag of this, big old bag of this stuff. Yes, this is really heavy stuff. So peat moss, that's the first thing, okay? Now let's walk over here. Who knew that the good stuff is in another section? All right, the secret section. All right. Oh no, it's closed off. Look, see, there's a fence there. They're trying to stop us from getting the good stuff. Come on, you can't stop us. We gotta get it. All right, I'm rocking over here. Look, we're in the rock section, the wood section. This place where people come and get their rocks and things. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Here it is, here it is, here it is. All right, paver sand. Yes, we found it. Paver sand, baby. This is ingredient number 2. All right, ingredient number 2 is patio paver sand. All right, sand, super simple, super effective. It's just sand, and this is sand with no salt in it. Look for sand with no salt in it. I'm pretty sure a lot of the big box stores have this stuff. Hopefully, have builder sand. This is the sand that construction people use for driveways, for pathways, for doing various things in construction. But this is great for potting mix, for containers, for trees to grow in it. Sand, it's so simple. It works really, really well. As long as it has no salt in it, that's paver sand, all right? Sand with no salt. I've only seen one type of tree handle salty sand soil, and that's mango trees that I saw growing in Costa Rica. They were growing pretty much at the beach in salty sand. It was shocking to see. Huge mango trees, lots of fruit. Like the tree was planted here and the beach was like right there. It was like right across the street from the beach. Big old mango trees growing in mostly sand. They can handle it. But in general, a lot of plants don't really like salty soils. So you want to get some of this builder sand with no salt in it. 2 ingredients, sand and peat moss combined, coming together. You're gonna have a fantastic container potting mix for a lot of trees. Now I'm going to show you the ratios that I use for this stuff. Patio paver sand mixed with peat moss. Let's go. Here's my bag of sand. All right, I got the sand. I didn't get it from the big box store. I got it from my favorite mom and pop shop. It's a rockery. It's local. I like to support small businesses. I don't like to support the big box store, but this stuff comes from Patagonia Building Supplies. Shout out to Patagonia Building Supplies. I will put their information in the description of this video. You could find them. They have 3 locations here in Southern California, okay? But anyways, we got the sand with no salt in it. And now I'm going to show you the ratios, my mix. I'm going to mix the soil together. I'm going to create the soil mix, the potting mix. And we're going to play around with it. We're going to plant some things in it. So let's go. Let's get started. Without further ado, we're going to start measuring. Really scientific stuff here, guys. All I'm going to use is my hands, all right? And we're going to measure by volume. We're not going to measure by weight because sand weighs so much more than peat moss. So we're measuring by volume, and we're going to get really scientific, sarcasm, okay? Here we go. 1 handful in the bucket, in the orange bucket. Another handful in, and then we're going to do 3 handfuls in. 3 handfuls of sand, and we're going to go 2 handfuls of the peat moss. 2 handfuls. So that's our ratio, okay? 3 to 2. 3 to 2 is the ratio. If you go more than 50% peat moss, in my personal experience, problems start to happen. The mix doesn't work as well if you go more than 50% peat moss. So I always want to keep it more mineral, which is sand. The ratio should always lean towards more mineral mix, all right? So more than 50%. And then things work really well. Again, sand provides the drainage. Sand gives that structure to the potting soil, and then the peat moss holds the moisture. And that combination just works so well because the peat moss can hold the water. And then you see sand, you go to the beach, the waves crash, hit the sand, and it drains immediately. So sand can't hold water that well. And it's, for us out here in this dry climate, Southern California, if I use just sand, which is great, by the way, if you live in a tropical place, subtropical, where it rains a lot, you could get away with using only sand as your potting mix. Fantastic. But the problem is, for us here in this dry climate, if I use just sand, the water drains too fast. And I'd be standing here just watering constantly. So that's why I don't go full sand, okay? But that's where peat moss steps in. Peat moss holds water so well. I've had so many containers over here that I thought would bone dry, and I'll pick them up. They're so light because they have no water. But the plant is doing great. It's happy. It's not drooping. It's not sad. And that's because it has a lot of peat moss in there. Magically can hold water really, really well, okay? So sand, it's so, you know, you hold it in your hand, it just flies away. So you got to add water for it to hold its structure. So I'm going to add water in here, okay? Let's add water. Water in. We're going to saturate this. All right, we're going to saturate the peat moss. We're going to saturate the sand. Okay, we're going to do that first before we start mixing and before we start adding plant material to this potting mix. We're going to do a little bit of this stuff right here by adding water. And what you want to do is, once it gets really soupy, once you see it start to look like a soup, that's when you stop. That's enough water right there. Okay, now, guys, there's no bat guano in here. There's no worm compost. There's no manure. There's no wood chips. There's nothing rotting, no rotting material in here. So I don't need to wear gloves. I could just use my hands and mix this stuff together. Just like that. Okay, I think I added too much water. Okay, because it's really soupy. So all you gotta do is, if you add too much water, is just add more sand and more peat moss. All right, let me do that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2. So there it is, 60-40. That's the ratio. 60-40 mix. Mix it all together. Mix it together. Make sure to really mix them two together. All right, I feel like it's well mixed together and it's holding a lot of water. Okay, there it is. That is our mix right there. Good stuff, huh? Sand mixed with peat moss. That's all it is. Real simple. Keep life simple. And this stuff is great. And it's really easy. All I'm going to do is I'm going to get a 1-gallon container. Put that in there. More. Fill it up. Fill it up. You see how the water is draining through? Look at the water draining through the bottom. You want that. You want drainage. You got to have drainage. All right, that's key to this whole equation. Water has to drain through, okay? I'm going to take my seed. This is an avocado seed, okay? And we're going to plant this seed. This is a great seed starting mix. In fact, I use this mix a lot for starting seeds. Just like that. Cover up. Keep a little part of it exposed. Seed starter mix. Really easy. All right. And it's also good for up-potting plants. This is an avocado seed. Big seed. Reed avocado seed in a small container. This is less than 1-gallon container. Look, it has mature sized leaves. It's ready to get up-potted. Okay, let me take it out of this pot. Oh yeah, it's ready. It's ready to go into a bigger container. Look at the roots are building up down at the bottom. It's a lot of roots there. That's how you know it's ready to go to a bigger container. Look at all the roots trying to get out from the bottom. All right, we're gonna graduate it up to a 1-gallon container, and we're gonna use the mix, the easy mix. All right.
Let's go here. That in there, fill the rest with the sand and the peat moss. And there it is, we're done. Super easy. We just up potted this avocado tree to a nice 1 gallon container. Just like that. Fantastic. Think about this mix right here. You see how I can squeeze it? Water's dripping out, but it holds its structure really well. That's what you want. That's the key elements to a potting mix. Ability to hold water, but also to drain it through and to hold its structure. You see that? It's not falling apart once it's wet. All right, that's all elements you want in a good potting mix. And this is so simple. 2 ingredients. Amazing. All right, folks, there it is. I hope this video helped you to find alternatives to decomposed granite, to find alternatives to those crazy potting mixes that they get sold at the big box stores, which is not really a potting mix. Hopefully this simple stuff helps you in your journey to grow plants better in containers and sometimes in the ground. Guys, if you like this video, remember to give me a like, subscribe, leave me a comment. And as always, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.